Welcome back, dear students. Today we will be learning how to draft a notice under Section 106 of Transfer of Property Act 1882. This will constitute our lecture number 19 of Unit 4. Section 106 TP Act, as you know, deals with the termination of tenancy of a tenant by the landlord. For drafting of a notice under Section 106 of Transfer of Property Act 1882, you are supposed to refer few good books before you start drafting. So for your kind reference, I have jotted down the list of important books for your benefit. First of all, we have the book of Mr. R.N. Chaturvedi. Its heading is Conveyancing, published by Eastern Book Company, and its 7th edition was published in 2011. Then we have very old and very good book written by Shri G.C. Monga. Its heading is Law of Pleadings in India, and its 18th edition was published in 2013. Then we have another book written by 3 authors jointly, that is by C.R. Datta, M.N. Das, and D'Souza. The heading of the book is Forms and Precedents of Conveyancing. This book was published by Eastern Law House, Lucknow. 13th edition was published in 2008. Then we have another very good book written by Mr. K.K. Srivastava. The heading of the book is The Law of Pleadings, Drafting and Conveyancing. This book is published by Central Law Agency. Its 2nd edition was published in 1982. And then finally we have another book available in our library written by Mr. S.R. Maineni, and the heading of the book is Drafting, Pleading and Conveyancing. This book is published by Asia Law House. Its reprint edition was published in 2017. Now, dear students, first of all, we must understand what is Section 106 TP Act. 106 of Transfer of Property Act 1882. This is a notice terminating the lease or tenancy of a tenant before filing a suit for his ejectment. If you want to file a suit of ejectment against your tenant, then it is compulsory requirement of the law that the tenancy of the tenant must be terminated. It is only after terminating the tenancy of the tenant that you are entitled to file a suit for ejectment. Because if the tenancy of the tenant is not terminated, then there is no possibility that suit for ejectment will be decreed. The reason being that he is still continuing your tenant. You have not yet terminated his tenancy. So provisions of termination of the lease, termination of the tenancy of a tenant before filing a suit for ejectment are contained in Section 106 of TP Act. And before you terminate the lease of a tenant, dear students, we must understand what is a lease. In the previous lecture, we have discussed little about the lease deed, but in the previous lecture, we had seen the components of a deed. It may be lease deed or sale deed, gift deed or mortgage deed, or relinquishment deed or exchange deed. But we had learned the essential components of a deed common to each and every category of deed. Now, if we want to draft a notice under section 106 of Transfer of Property Act for the purposes of terminating the lease of a tenant, then we should have a beforehand knowledge as to what is a lease. So according to Transfer of Property Act, a lease of immovable property is a transfer of right to enjoy such property. You don't sell your property when you rent it out. It is only the transfer of right to enjoy such property in consideration of price paid, that is rent, price paid or promised, or in terms of money is known as rent, or a share in the crop. Suppose I have given my agricultural land on lease and I have decided that I will take 50% of the crop as rent. That can be done. That is a valid agreement. That share of the crop or share in services or any other thing of value to be rendered periodically. Rent may be payable periodically, that is monthly. Rent may be payable quarterly. It may be payable half yearly or it may be payable annually. This depends on the terms and conditions written in the deed which the parties have it. Or in our country, it is also customary to pay rent on specified occasions, like Diwali to Diwali. The rent is paid on first Diwali. This will continue for a year up to another Diwali. And then for next year, again the rent will be paid on the day of Diwali. Who will pay? Transferee will pay to the transferor. Lessee will pay to the lessor. Or tenant will pay to his landlord. And landlord has to accept the transfer on such terms. So this is how section 105 of TP Act defines a lease of property as a transfer of right to enjoy such property in consideration of price paid or promised to be paid or of money, that is known as rent. Rent may be in the shape of share of crop or services or any other thing of value to be given periodically, monthly, quarterly, 6 monthly or annually, or from Diwali to Diwali. And this rent or services or share in crop has to be given by the tenant to the landlord, that is by the transferee to the transferor. And transferor, that is the landlord, has to accept that transfer on those terms which were agreed between the parties. Now the person who is transferring the property, transferring rather right to enjoy the property, that transferor is called lessor, and transferee or the tenant is called lessee. And the price paid, that is rent or share in crop or share in services, is known as premium. Premium has two connotations: money, share, services or other thing so rendered is called the rent. And actual connotation of premium is an extra payment taken from the tenant. Suppose I am going to take a shop on rent in a big mall in Noida. So the lessor will charge me extra amount, say for example 10 lakh or 20 lakh rupees as premium, and then monthly rent also. So the extra money, one-time money, non-refundable money, which the landlord has taken from me, is known as premium. आम भाषा में इसको बोलते हैं पगड़ी. पगड़ी देनी पड़ेगी. 20 lakh rupees आपको पगड़ी देनी पड़ेगी, and 1 lakh rupees per month will be the rent. So the price in the beginning, which is taken in one lot, that is known as premium, and the periodical money, periodical share, periodical services to be given by the tenant to the landlord are known as rent. In 2003, the Transfer of Property Act was amended and a new section was substituted in the TP Act. Section 106 was already there, but the old section was repealed and new section was substituted, which makes it compulsory to terminate the tenancy of the tenant before filing a suit. And this notice which you are going to draft may be of two kinds. Notice may expire with the end of a year of the tenancy. For example, the tenancy was for 10 years ending on 31st December 2020. So this notice of terminating the tenancy which you are going to give, this notice must end expiring with the end of a year of the tenancy. Notice should be given in such a manner in the month of December 2020 so that it may reach the tenant and its period should expire with the end of a year of the tenancy, if the tenancy was from year to year. Similarly, this notice should expire with the end of a month of the tenancy if the tenancy was from month to month. So this portion I have shown in the red and a star has been put there. This means that the portion in red has been removed from section 106 by TP Amendment Act of 2003. That is Transfer of Property Amendment Act of 2003. And very reasonably this portion has been removed from section 106 because practically sometimes it is not possible that you give it, suppose you have given a notice of termination of tenancy in case of yearly tenancy and the notice is not being received by the tenant on till 31st December. It was received by him on 1st January. So it is not ending with the year ending. Likewise, monthly tenancy also. Suppose you have sent this notice on 25th of month, but it was received by the tenant on 27th. So again, that period is not expiring with the end of the month. So looking into these problems, the government has amended the Transfer of Property Act, and this portion shown in red, that notice should expire with the end of the year or end of the month, has now been deleted. Now, if you find a question in the examination that draft a notice under section 106 of Transfer of Property Act terminating the tenancy of the tenant. This question contains two questions, two in one. Maybe that the original tenancy was from year to year, or maybe that the original tenancy was from month to month. And this is written in section 106 of TP Act. Actually, this section enumerates the duration of certain leases, which you must understand before you start drafting of a notice under section 106 of TP Act. So what section says? that in the absence of a contract or local law or usage to the contrary, a lease of immovable property for agriculture or manufacturing purposes shall be deemed to be a lease from year to year, terminable on the part of either lessor or lessee by 6 months notice. See, if you are giving your land for agriculture purposes, so according to the duration of the crop, the law says that you will have to give 6 months notice. But not necessary now that your notice should expire with the end of the year of the tenancy. This tenancy can be terminated anytime. And the important fact is that this tenancy can be terminated either by the lessor or by the lessee. Both of them have a right to terminate the tenancy provided 6 months notice is given. So this 6 months is a pretty good period where if the crop is sown by a particular person, he can reap it, he can cut it and take benefit of the crop which was sown by him. So that's why law says that 6 months notice, prior notice has to be given. But now it is not necessary that this notice should expire with the end of the year of tenancy. It may expire at any time, but 6 months notice has to be given. If a notice is given in the month of, say, July, so it will end on 31st January. So the tenant has to vacate the agricultural land by 31st January. Not necessary that your notice should end always on 31st December or on 30th June, ending with the year of the tenancy, is not the requirement of law after 2003. So this is first category of lease which you may be asked to draft for its termination. That is a lease for property for agriculture or manufacturing purposes. If you have given your land and somebody has erected a factory on it, so he needs time for removing all those constructions, maybe temporary or permanent. So the 6 months period is available with the tenant to remove all his belongings if the land was given to him on rent, on lease, for manufacturing purposes or for agriculture purposes. Second category of lease which is available to you under Transfer of Property Act is a lease of immovable property for any other purpose, bearing agriculture purpose, bearing manufacturing purpose. If the lease is given for any other purpose, any third purpose, then that lease shall be deemed to be a lease from month to month, terminable on the part of either lessor or lessee by 15 days notice. Notice of period is same, but it is not necessary that this 15 days notice should end with the end of the month of the tenancy. So first category of lease, dear students, very simple. If immovable property is given for agriculture or manufacturing purposes, the lease to be terminated can be terminated only and only if 6 months advance notice is given. And in any other tenancy, for any other purpose, if the land or the house or the building is given on tenancy, on rent, then it shall be deemed to be leased from month to month. And this lease is also terminable by advance 15 days notice. And again, I may tell you that both the parties have a right to terminate the lease. It is not only the landlord. Commonly, it is being perceived by people in the field of law that only landlord has a right to terminate the tenancy of the tenant. Tenant also has a right to leave the tenanted premises by giving 15 days notice that I will be vacating your house after 15 days. So this can be done either by lessor or by lessee. Now this period of 6 months in case of agriculture or manufacturing purposes lease and period of 15 days, this has to be counted from the date of receipt of the notice by the other party. It is not the date of notice. It is the date of receipt of the notice by other party, from which period of 6 months or period of 15 days shall be reckoned. So we have seen, dear students, that notice under section 106 of TP Act can be given either by the lessor, that is landlord, or by the lessee, that is the tenant. And this notice under section 106 of TP Act may be 6 months notice in case of agriculture, land, or land given for manufacturing purposes, or 15 days notice for any other purpose. This notice must be in writing and signed by the person who is sending the notice, who is giving the notice, or someone authorized on his behalf can also sign this notice. This oral termination of tenancy is not allowed in law. If landlord is terminating the tenancy of the tenant, or if the tenant wants to leave his tenancy, then notice to be given by each party has to be in writing and signed by the person himself or somebody authorized by him. So authorized person can also sign the notice of terminating the tenancy. Now how to serve this notice, how to send this notice? Landlord can't give a notice by hand to the tenant. He will quarrel with him. Huh? So this notice must be sent by post or tendered or delivered personally to the party or to one of his family member or servant at his residence. There is no legal restriction. But the moment you serve the notice or give notice to your tenant personally, he will be annoyed. He will start fighting with you, and vice versa also. If tenant is giving notice to the landlord by hand, then landlord will be annoyed that why you are going to leave my house. Anyway, legally speaking, this notice must be sent by post or tendered or delivered personally to the party or to one of his family members. See, this notice can be served on family members also, or even on the servant also, but the servant should be residing at the residence of the other party to whom the notice is to be served. And if such tender or delivery by hand is not possible, then by affixing the notice at some conspicuous part of the property. Tenant is not going to receive the notice by hand. So the substituted method is, if tender or delivery by hand is not possible, then affix that notice on the main door of the house of the tenant. So when in the morning he will open the door, he will see that there is a notice being pasted on his door by which his tenancy has been terminated. It is very rare nowadays. People are not adopting this mode of fixing the notice on the door or on the outer wall of the house, because there are chances that tenant or the landlord to whom the notice is given, by pasting it on his door, he will read the notice and just tear it. So best mode of sending the notices, send it by post, by registered AD post, acknowledgement, because you are supposed to prove it also in the court. Mere giving notice, mere drafting notice is not enough. If you cannot prove your notice of terminating the tenancy in court of law, then your suit for rejectment is liable to be dismissed. Now you see, this amendment which was done in 2002 in Transfer of Property Act, retrospective effect has been given to this law, and new section 106 of TP Act will apply to all notices in pursuance of which any suit or proceeding is pending at the commencement of this amending act. When this amendment act was brought in force, obviously few cases thousands and thousands of cases must be pending in the various courts of law where ejectment of the tenant was sought. So this new section will apply to all notices in pursuance of which any suit or proceeding is pending at the commencement of this amending act, number 1. And number 2, this new section will apply to all notices which have been issued before commencement of this amending act, where no suit or proceeding has been filed before such commencement. So if no suit is pending, for fresh suits, obviously, new section will apply. And the relief given by the new section is that your notice of 6 months or 1 month may not expire with the end of a year and with the end of the month. That is the relaxation given by the new law. Now, how to calculate the term of the lease? Because suppose lease was for a year, how to calculate when the lease expires, when 1 year expires, or the fixed term 10 years or 5 years, whatever may be, when it will expire. Why you should know this calculation? Because drafting of the notice terminating the tenancy under section 106 depends upon this calculation. And if your calculation is wrong, you have drafted a wrong notice, you have given a wrong notice, you have drafted plaint accordingly, which is again defective, and your suit is liable to be dismissed on this technical ground also. So how to calculate the term of the lease? The first principle is exclusion of the day on which the term of the lease commences. Suppose the lease was to commence from 1st January 2010 up to 31st December 2020. So first day of January 2010, that is the date when the term of lease starts, commences. So that day shall be excluded while calculating the 10 years period of the lease. And where the time limited by lease of immovable property is expressed as commencing from a particular day, in computing that time, such day shall be excluded. Suppose lease is from Diwali to Diwali. So the day of Diwali, when the lease commences, shall be excluded in calculation of the period of 1 year or 10 year or 5 year, as the case may be. Okay? Example is here. If lease is to begin from 1st January 2020, this first day of January shall be excluded while calculating the total period of lease. This is the mandate of section 110 of Transfer of Property Act, that day of the lease on which it commences has to be excluded while calculating the total term of the lease. And where no day of commencement is named, the time so limited begins from the making of the lease. That is the date of the lease. Okay? When the lease was actually made, actually executed. So that date of execution shall also be excluded while calculating the term of the lease. Now let us have an example of calculation of the term of a lease for a year. This is one example where the time so limited is a year or number of years, say 10 years. Then in the absence of an express agreement to the contrary, the lease shall last during the whole anniversary of the day from which such time commences. Say for example, the lease of 1 year starting from 1st January 2020 will commence from 2nd January, because the day of commencement, that is 1st January, has to be excluded. So you start calculation of 1 year from 2nd January 2020. So it will end on 1st January 2021. So wrongly mentioned here 1st October. From 2nd January 2020 to 1st January 2021 will be the time of 1 year. Now, how to determine this lease? Because your drafting is based upon the knowledge of the fact as to how to determine the lease, how to terminate the tenancy of the tenant. So when a notice of termination, which you are going to draft today, notice of termination of lease is given, the period of notice, that is 6 months or 15 days, shall be counted from the date of receipt of the notice. I told you earlier also that this period of 15 days or 6 months is to be counted from the date of the receipt of the notice. And if the notice is not received by the other party, then this period cannot start. Lease cannot be determined unless the notice is received by the other party. And the lease remains valid until expiration of this notice period, that is 6 months and 15 days after receipt of the notice. The tenant remains a tenant for another 6 months in cases of agriculture, land being given on lease, and the tenant remains tenant for another 15 days after receiving the notice under section 106 PPA. This is reasonable. That for agriculture and manufacturing purposes, the tenant should have 6 months period to wind up these things. And if it is a lease of a flat, then tenant should have 15 days period for searching another flat and shifting to that flat. All right. So when lease shall be determined, the lease will be determined on the expiration of notice period. To determine the lease or quit or intention to quit the property lease. Whenever the notice is received by the tenant, you add 15 days more. You add 6 months more. And the tenant remains tenant for another 15 days in case of normal properties. And the tenant remains tenant for another 6 months if the land was given for agriculture or manufacturing purposes. So after service of notice, be very clear in mind, dear students, that tenant remains a valid tenant for further 15 days. Or he remains a valid tenant for further 6 months, as the case may be. So this was an example of determination of yearly tenancy. Now let us see how to determine month-to-month tenancy. Our main object today is drafting of a notice under section 106 of PPA. So we must know the method of determination of the tenancy. And if you are going to draft a notice on behalf of a landlord terminating the tenancy of a tenant with reference to a flat which was given on rent, then you must understand the provisions of section 111H of PPA also. Now take for example, the lease was given for 11 months on month-to-month basis, and the tenancy started from 1st January 2020. Now a notice was given on 1st April 2020 by the lessor to the lessee, and the notice was received by the lessee on 5th April 2020. Very reasonable period, 4 days being taken in the service of notice by the postal department. So the tenant has received the notice on 5th April. Now see, this grace period of 15 days will be counted from 5th April and not from 1st April. 1st April is the date of the notice or date of dispatch of the notice, but actual date of receiving the notice is 5th April. So period of 15 days will be counted from 5th April. Now let us see. Lease will remain a valid lease up to 19th April. Because from 5th April, 15 days grace period is available to the tenant for vacation of the premises. And it is not necessary now, as you have seen, that monthly lease should terminate with the date of ending of the month. This has been amended. Well, how to determine the yearly lease? That too is contained in section 111H. Take for example, that yearly lease was given for agriculture or manufacturing purposes for 10 years on 1st January 2010. For 10 years. So it should expire on, the period should expire after 10 years. Now the initial principle is that the day of commencement of tenancy shall not be counted while calculating the period of lease. So 1st January 2010 shall not be calculated, and period of lease will start from 2nd January 2010. This is one. The period will end on 1st January 2020, that is 10 years. It is not 31st December 2020. Counting of period has to be done from 2nd January 2010, and period of 10 year will expire on 1st January 2020. Okay. Now a notice of termination of lease is given by the lessee to the lessor. See here, lessee is giving notice to the lessor on 1st January 2019, and the notice is received by the lessor on 7th January 2019. Now the period of 1 year, period of 6 months in case of yearly tenancy has to be calculated from 7th January 2019 and not from 1st January 2019, because 1st January 2019 is the date of notice and notice is received by the lessor on 7th January. So the period is to be calculated from 7th January. So lease will continue from 7th January plus 6 months more, that is 6th June 2019. That will be the date of actual termination of the tenancy. And it is not necessary, as you have seen earlier also we have discussed, it is not necessary that lease should terminate at the end of the year. It's not necessary that your notice should expire on 31st December 2020. Notice can be given anytime, but a 6 months grace period will be available to the tenant. Now, dear students, with this background, we start drafting a notice under section 106 of Transfer of Property Act for determination of a lease given on monthly basis by landlord to his tenant. This is very usual in NCR region. Dear students, so many students are living in PG also as paying guests, and they are paying monthly rent on month-to-month basis. So if your landlord wants to evict you from your PG, the condition is that he must give a 15 days clear-cut notice to you. And after receipt of notice, you get 15 days so that you may search another PG for your residence. All right. So let's start drafting the notice under section 106 DPA. The question comes like this: draft a quit notice under section 106 of Transfer of Property Act 1882. This is also known as a quit notice because you are giving a notice to the tenant, or tenant is giving notice to the landlord that he is going to quit the premises in question. So center heading of your notice will be notice to tenant under section 106 DPA. See, this notice is to be drafted by your advocate. Court has nothing to do with this notice. Court will see its validity, whether the notice was duly given, whether the notice is duly proved before the court or not. So court is not in picture here. So this notice will be generated from the office of the landlord or from the office of counsel of the landlord. So this notice is being sent from the office of ABC Advocate, having chamber number 106, High Court of Delhi, Sher Shah Road, New Delhi. You know High Court is situated on this address. Chamber number I have taken 106 so that you may remember that notice of termination of tenancy is given under Section 106 of TPA. All right. Now dated, notice must contain a date. Dated is 1st January 2017. How you are sending this notice? By registered AD post and under postal certificate. Two categories of receipt, two assurances you are taking, two precautions you are taking, that one notice is sent through registered acknowledgement due post, and second by UPC under postal certificate, where you get a receipt from the post office. The moment you post a letter under UPC, the clerk of the post office will give you a certificate and a stamp that this notice was duly given in the office of postmaster. And second method is you send it by registered post and annex an acknowledgement along with the notice. Now, to whom you are giving this notice? Notice is being given to A, son of B, resident of 106 Lajpat Nagar, New Delhi. Again, I have taken his address also as 106, address of the tenant, house number 106, so that you may remember that notice terminating the tenancy of a tenant is to be given in accordance with section 106 of the Transfer of Property Act. Now see how to start this drafting of notice, because now a lawyer of the landlord is drafting the notice on behalf of his client. Client is not speaking directly to the tenant. The client or the landlord has signed a wakalatnama in favor of his advocate to issue a notice to his tenant, and now the counsel for landlord is speaking. So what should be the language, how to draft it? You will write down as an advocate that I have instructions from my client Shri X, son of Y, resident of 52 Lajpat Nagar, New Delhi, to serve you the following quit notice. See, advocate is speaking on behalf of X, son of Y, who is your landlord. Now, paragraph wise, you are to write down the facts. The first fact to be written on behalf of landlord is, his counsel is saying that my client is the owner and landlord of property number 52 Lajpat Nagar, New Delhi. He is the owner as well as landlord. Then he says that you are a tenant of my client in respect of one room, kitchen, a bathroom and a store on the first floor of the said property at a monthly rent of rupees 10,000. Besides water and electric charges, wide rent agreement dated 1st July 1988. Tenancy is continuing from 1st July 1988 at the rate of rupees 10,000. The property is situated at the first floor where the landlord himself is residing. Then third fact is that the above said tenancy commences on the first day of every English calendar month and expires on the last date of the month. Every month, tenancy begins on day 1 and it ends on by the end of the month. Tenancy starting from first day and ending on the last day of the same English calendar month. And the rent is payable in advance on the first of every English calendar month. This is very usual in all the landlord tenant agreements, that the rent for the month is always taken in advance by the landlord. Now, the landlord is speaking through his advocate that the above said premises under your tenancy are residential in nature. They are not commercial. They are not for agriculture purpose. They are residential in nature, and they were let out to you for residential purposes only, and is also being used by you for the purpose of residence. So this is a hint. This is a hint to say that we are going to terminate the monthly tenancy of the tenant, for which 15 days clear-cut notice is required. Now what are the grounds? Although no ground is to be given by the landlord as to why he is vacating your tenancy, why he is terminating your tenancy. No ground is needed. But the reason why he is terminating, that he is saying to the tenant that you are a regular defaulter in paying the rent to my client, and now the rent for 30 months with effect from 1st July 1988 to 31st December 1990 has become due from you. You have not paid rent at all. I therefore hereby call upon you to pay the whole of the arrears of rent to my client within 2 months of this month. Instead of 15 days, he is giving 2 months notice, no invalidity in it. You cannot give notice for 1 week or less than 15 days. Clear cut notice. After receiving the notice, the grace period should be 15 months. But now in this illustration, the landlord is kind enough, he is giving 2 months notice. Then he says that now you have acquired vacant possession of flat number 106 Rohini, New Delhi, and have therefore made yourself liable for eviction on this ground also. Landlord is saying to the tenant that you have purchased another flat in Rohini. So go and live at your own residence and vacate my flat. Anyway, here comes the actual termination of tenancy in para 7. That my client does not wish to keep you as tenant anymore. Only this ground is needed. And your tenancy is therefore terminated with effect from midnight of 31st January 2017 after having availed 15 clear days from service of this notice. So the landlord is saying that he does not wish to keep you as tenant anymore. And your tenancy is terminated with effect from midnight of 31st January 2017 after availing 15 days grace period from the service of this notice. Now, the result of termination of tenancy is para 8, that you are therefore hereby called upon to pay arrears of rent and hand over the vacant and peaceful possession of the said premises to my client upon termination of your tenancy. Then next comes the final word. Please take notice and be notified that if you will not vacate the said premises on or before 31st January 2017 and will not pay entire arrears of rent, I have instructions to file a suit for arrears of rent and ejectment against you at your risk, cost and responsibility. This is the final. Please take notice and be notified that if you will not vacate the said premises on or before 31st January 2017, then the lawyer has instructions to file a suit for arrear of rent and ejectment against the tenant at the risk of the tenant, at the cost of the tenant, and all responsibilities on tenant. Copy of this notice is retained by me. This notice was sent on 1st January 2017. Maybe that 3 or 4 days are taken in the service of this notice. Then tenant gets clear cut 15 days and he is to vacate the premises on or before 31st January whenever the period of 15 days expires after receipt of notice. Yours faithfully, who has sent this notice? ABC Advocate, on behalf of the landlord. He will also sign the notice. Now let us see the validity of this notice. We have drafted it, whether the drafting is correct or not. So in this notice, which we have just now drafted, a period of more than statutory 15 days is given. See, the notice was sent on 1st January 2017 plus period of service, say maximum 7 days, plus 15 days grace period, it comes out somewhere in the third week of January. But tenancy is terminated on the last day of January, that is 31st January 2017. So statutory requirement of minimum 15 days grace period, 15 days notice after service of notice to quit is complied with. We have given more than 15 days time to the tenant. So 15 is the statutory requirement. 15 days grace period is the statutory minimum which tenant should get. So we have seen that our drafting is okay in accordance with law, right? Now let us take another example. This was an example of termination of lease which was month to month relating to residential purposes only. Now we will draft another notice under section 106 TP Act terminating the lease of a land given for agriculture purposes. Now you know 6 months period, 6 months advance notice has to be given to the tenant, right? Heading will be the same, notice to lessee. Landlord is giving notice to the lessee under section 106 of TP Act. Again, this notice will go from the office of ABC advocate on behalf of his client who is your landlord, right? Chamber number 106. Why I have taken 106? So that you should remember that all notices terminating the tenancy of the tenant are to be given under section 106 of TP Act. So the address of the advocate, intentionally I have taken chamber number 106 as in the last illustration also. So chamber number 106, High Court of Delhi, Sher Shah Road, New Delhi is the address of the council for landlord. Again, this notice is sent on 1st January 2020 by registered AD post and under certificate of posting or under postal certificate. To whom this notice is to be given? Notice is to be given to A, son of B, resident of 106 Lajpat Nagar, New Delhi. Address of the tenant is also 106 Lajpat Nagar, so as to correspond with relevant section of Transfer of Property Act, under which you are going to terminate the tenancy, right? Now again the same language, same method, because the landlord is not giving notice personally, he is giving notice through his counsel. So counsel is speaking through landlord, all right? You must keep it in mind while drafting anything on behalf of a client. When advocate is speaking, the language will be different. And the language will be like this. I have instructions from my client, Shri X, son of Y, resident of 52 Lajpat Nagar, New Delhi, to serve you following quit notice. Notice to quit means khali karo. Your tenancy is being terminated, vacate the premises. So the facts are that my client is the owner and landlord of agriculture land, property number 52, measuring 5 acres, situated at Chhatarpur, New Delhi. All of you are aware that Chhatarpur is an area of New Delhi where big farms are available. People have big bungalows in big farms. So here the property to be given on lease is 5 acres, which is situated at Chhatarpur, New Delhi. And to the tenant it is being said in para 2 that you are a lessee oblique tenant of my client in respect of said agriculture land at the rate of rupees 10,000 per acre, wide rent agreement dated 1st January 2010. 10 years is the period of lease and 10,000 per acre is the rate of rent. And the lease is beginning from 1st January 2010. Now, next fact is that above said tenancy commences on the first day of every English year and expires on the last day of the same English year. Tenancy starting from 1st January 2010, ending on 2nd January 2011 after 1 year. And the rent is payable in advance on the first day of every English year. Right? Now the landlord is speaking through his advocate that this above said land under your tenancy is agriculture in nature and was let out to you for agriculture purposes only. It's not residential, okay? Not commercial. It is land was given for agriculture purposes only. Now see, the land was given for 10 years. The ground is that you are a regular defaulter in paying rent to my client, and now the rent for 5 years with effect from 1st January 2015 to 31st December 2019 has become due from you. I therefore hereby call upon you to pay the whole of the arrears of rent to my client within 2 months of this notice. For payment of money, 2 months notice is given. Because termination of tenancy is a different issue and demand of rent is a different issue. So for paying the rent, 2 months period is being given. But for terminating the tenancy, 6 months clear-cut grace period has to be given to the tenant after receipt of the notice. Now this is the main ground that my client does not wish to keep you as a tenant anymore, and your tenancy is therefore terminated with effect from midnight of 31st July 2020 after having availed a period of 6 months from the date of service of this notice. Notice is being dated as 1st January 2020. Maybe that 7 days or 10 days are taken in service of notice. Until 31st July 2020, the tenant gets more than 6 months period as advance notice. Now let us see. The result of termination of tenancy is that now you are therefore hereby called upon to pay arrears of rent and hand over the vacant and peaceful possession of said agricultural land to my client upon termination of your tenancy. Tenancy is terminated, so give back the vacant and peaceful possession to the landlord. Okay, this is the final word. Please take notice and be notified that if you will not vacate the said premises on or before 31st July 2020 and will not pay the entire arrears of rent, then the council advocate says that I have instructions to file a suit for arrears of rent and ejectment against you at your risk, cost and responsibility. And copy of the notice is retained by me. Why this copy is retained by the council? Because original notice reaches in the hands of the tenant. How will you prove that you have served a notice in the court of law? By submitting this copy, carbon copy or second printout, which you have retained as a lawyer. As you know, according to Evidence Act, notice has to be proved by primary evidence, and primary has gone into the hands of tenant. He would not like to file the notice in the court. So you should retain a second copy of the notice with you as a lawyer on behalf of your client. That's why it is mentioned here that copy of the notice is retained by me. And date of the notice is 1st January 2020. Who is giving this notice? Yours faithfully, signature ABC Advocate. So ABC Advocate is issuing this notice. He will sign this notice on behalf of the landlord because the landlord has signed a wakalatnama in favor of ABC Advocate. Now, dear students, let us check the validity and veracity of this period of this notice. See, in this illustration, notice a period of more than statutory requirement of 6 months is given. How? 6 months is the minimum. Notice was sent on 1st January 2020. Plus period of service has to be added in it. say 7 days or 10 days are taken by the postal department, and after service of notice, the tenant gets 6 months more. So this 6 months period will somehow expire in the first or second week of July 2020. But the tenancy is being terminated with effect from 31st July. Some more grace period is given by the landlord. He is kind enough. Otherwise, on the expiry of period of 15 days, the tenancy stands terminated in case of month-to-month tenancy. And after receipt of notice, if you add period of 6 months, then on expiry of 6 months, the tenancy of the tenant stands expired if the lease was given for agriculture or manufacturing purpose. So in this illustration, dear students, statutory requirement of minimum 6 months period, 6 months notice after service of notice to quit is complied with. So your drafting is perfect, your drafting is okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.